just I need to stop sharing the screen. So up next on the list is Dr. Harrison, and he's going to be taking us on Africanizing integrated behavioral medical healthcare. Dr. Harrison, if you're there to present, please let me know. And if you can share a screen, or if you'd like me to share from here, that's fine.
Yeah, thank you very much. I did inform you that you should help me share the screen. I will appreciate that help. Thank you.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Yes. All right. All right. Sorry about that.
I'm number 6.
So I think you can go ahead. So you can go ahead while I put up your screen.
Yeah, okay. My topic today is Africanizing integrated behavioral medical health. And I would like to start by at least all protocols observed to greet you all. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. My name is Felicia Chika Harrison with Arizona State University College of Health Solutions. And we all know that Africa. Can you share my screen for me?
Yes, almost. Let
me see.
So while
screen sharing.
Yes, you can go ahead. Your screen is up.
Okay, good. So I'm with Arizona State University College of Health Solutions in Tempe, Arizona. And the reason why I've chosen this topic, Africanizing integrated behavioral medical health care, is because the WHO, World Health Organization, has given a mandate that by the year 2034, all medical and healthcare organizations should operate what is called collaborative care or integrated healthcare. And then in order to meet that gap, we can see that Africa is way behind. I'm not seeing my screen. Let me hone on it now.
Your screen is up. You said you can't see it.
Okay, can you go to 2, page 2?
Okay.
How can I get? I'm unable to get to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Page
So
2, right?
yeah. Okay. Yeah, so my presentation will focus on Africanizing integrated behavioral medical healthcare, a culturally grounded, technology-enabled, and research-driven approach that will align with healthcare with African unique values and realities. And if we look at it, the World Health Organization, like I said earlier, had mapped out a program, to bridge the gap called integrated behavioral health. And the reason, I can even see my. My hand on my phone.
Hi, Dr. Harrison. Are you having any challenges with your presentation?
Yeah, I'm having challenges, scrolling to the next this thing that I want to. So I don't know what to do right now. I don't know what
From
you
your
need.
end, right?
Huh?
Can you see your screen? Your slides on the screen.
I'm seeing my slide, but I want to be able to be moving the slide when I want it, but I'm not able to do so.
So you can just tell me the slide number that you are.
Okay, Madam, what you do is we go to slide, finish that one. On your computer, you go to slide, you want to tell him so he can move it so that you'll be seeing it on the screen.
Okay. So on slide introduction, Africa faces two major challenges. One is the rise of non-communicable diseases, which including mental health, and the limited availability of culturally relevant care. And you can see that too often our system borrows from Western framework that doesn't fully match African beliefs and social realities. Hence, Africanization is about reclaiming that alignment. And how do we do that? The rationale is that first, many curricula miss African views and on wellness. And second, care training often separates behavioral and medical care. And thirdly, we need affordable technology solutions that actually work in our context. And finally, we need an African research and governance, that are able, that will be able to strengthen our destiny. So when we look at it, we look at the key pillars. Our framework will rest on 4 key pillars. And when we talk about those pillars, we talk about developing culturally grounded curriculum, expanding technology-enabled learning and services, which is still being lacking in African continents, strengthening research led by Africans for Africans communities, not Americans coming to do research on African communities about us, why we ourselves, just like the moderator talked about a few minutes ago when we first started during his introductory speech. We have Africans that can be able to do this research, for us, because we Africans, we know where our problem lies, not a white man coming to tell us, our problem, where our problem lies. Another thing is reforming governance and policies that will support our integrated behavioral health care. And then if you look at it, you can even ask, what is integrated behavioral health care? The reason why WHO established that gap and the mandate by year 2034 is that when people come to be, somebody had diabetes, heart failure, heart disease, and the person come to seek medical care. And the person also has substance abuse problem or behavioral health issue. So instead of just treating that person for medical problem, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, or leukemia, or other medical issue, and then you forget the other one, like this, the behavioral health aspect. So World Health Organization is mandating collaborative care, integrated behavioral care, whereby hospitals will also have integrated behavioral health care, that will, when you treat that person on a medical issue, you should also treat that person. The hospital will also treat that person on behavioral issue. That way, you are treating the whole person. So after looking at the key pillars, we'll look at the implementation. So the implementation must be practical. This will include curriculum that will reform with universities, piloting behavioral health projects, continuous training for healthcare workers, and creating evaluation metrics that reflect cultural relevance. Right now, we are already doing this in Nigeria. The Nigerian American Mental Health Association, we have a fundraising here in North Carolina next year. We are training 2 months ago with the collaboration of the governor of Anambra State and Imo State. We trained some mental health workers. We're trying to see if we can bridge the gap. We are raising funds on our own to see how we can meet the gap. We are not relying on government because they don't care about our people. So since we are here, we are raising money and we are doing this on our own. So we will need training healthcare workers that we also train people that we know how, because if you look at in Nigeria back home, when people have stigma, have this behavioral health issue, because of stigma, they don't go to seek care. They don't even go to hospital. They don't even go out. And it's like You don't even want your loved one or your family, people to know that your loved one has a mental health problem, you know. So, and we need to create evaluation metric that will reflect our cultural relevance. Then after doing that, after the implementation framework, we're looking at the expected outcome. What do we expect? When implemented, we expect a skilled workforce that will be combining behavioral and medical care. We are expecting expanded access to rural communities, to improve patient outcome, to have a better policy that will align with our national health strategies. Will this be possible? Of course, but will our government help us? I doubt it. But self-efforts and everybody who has the interests of Africa at heart, we all can collaborate to see how we can make this work. And also, we will need lobbyists, people that will lobby the government to allow this to align with our national health strategies. Next slide, please. Slide 9. In conclusion, and a call to action, I will encourage all of you today that are here listening and my co-presenters. Africanization does not reject global innovations. Just keep that. We are not rejecting it. We appreciate it, but it adapts them. We are adapting them to our reality. We can build sustainable holistic care by grounding our healthcare system in African knowledge, research, and governance. And I have a call to you all today. Let us commit, like the moderator said, to reshaping training, practice, and policy that is African-led. Thank you for your time, and thank you for having me.
Also, list is Dr. Udo. I don't know if I got that right again, so you would permit me. So I don't know if you're there, Doctor. If you can hear me, kindly unmute your mic so that I'm sure that you're there.
Down the road.
So awesome.
I'm just trying to park on the side. Thank you very much. Probably for the want of time. Probably for the want of time, you probably will share mine.
That's fine.
Just give me a minute. Let me park somewhere.
Please take your time. Yes, I'm on it. I'm on it. Yes, I'm on it. I'm on it. Okay, so it's coming up very soon. Okay, so it should be up in 3.
Hello, Mateko, can you share?
Go. Now you can present, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I must first of all appreciate
the organizer. Professor Nwosu is really a mentor, and under him we are growing without limit. Thank you very much. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can. Absolutely.
Okay, that's very much well. My topic is taxation in traditional African societies. Let me put it this way. Before the colonial masters came, we had a way of funding our security. We have a way of having our own community healing system, all taking care of all the necessary facilities that are needed within the community. But it becomes a concern that even within Africa, hello?
We can hear you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you,
Okay, I
sir.
thought somebody was talking. Okay, I thought somebody was talking. But it becomes a concern now that Africans, many countries have come to realize that even what they call natural resources, we boast that we are blessed with natural resources, but they are no more sustainable. And they have come to realize that the only thing that is sustainable is effective tax system, which our forefathers used to protect themselves, to distribute for equity. So the essence of my topic today is to explore how traditional African societies practiced their own taxation long before the coming of the colonial and have the way be in their equitability or subjectivity, and also to the people that you get tax from. Next, the objective of this, go to the next slide. Next slide. Can you go to the next slide? All right. The objective of this study, the objective, please. The objective of this study is the objective, please. The objective of this study is one is to explore forms of traditional taxations and also examine the distribution and accountability mechanism which were being tax, and also to relate from the African system of taxation. The next. So the next. The nature of the traditional taxes. One was a true tribute, maybe food, livestock, crops, and of course levies for war or festivals, communal labor, just like their soldiers. Unlike in Nigeria, but they just change it now. They even tax soldiers, they tax police officers. But in the colonial days, or before in our traditional days, before the coming of the colonial masters, soldiers were not taxed. Their service was regarded as a form of tax enough. So there was also communal labor, tax in service, market tolls, and trade levies. The next. Talking about the nature of the next place. So I have to give some case studies of different kind of nature of taxes across Africa. Like here in Nigeria, the Yoruba have what they call shakole. That's a way of giving farm produce. Whatever you have gotten, your farm produce, as a gift or as a tax to chiefs or landlords. There were also in Yoruba land levies for community, which are festivals and wars. And also this way distributed through the chief. What you have got, a chief have a way of redistributing the wealth. If you had a lot of yam, you give gift to the king. The king will give to the vulnerables, those who are poor, to the orphans. And also as a word of accountability in Yoruba land, Council of Elders check abuse. And you will also come to note this, that even then, there were their beliefs on spirituality, that if you fail to do the right thing, even the king, even the power, the gods, the traditional gods will come after you. So they were a very sound atom of accountability. Go ahead to the next. Apart from Yoruba land, even to Ghana, go to the next. taxation in the Ashanti area, Ashanti Empire. They were tributing gold. There was no money, but people were contributing gold, cola or cola nut, and other farm produce. And there were also market taxes that were collected from the Ashanti men. And this was not just packed by the king, but these were also redistributed through the royal ceremonies, probably during the yam season or special season. The king will distribute whatever he has gathered or whatever has been contributed to him. In terms of accountability, the chief could be stood for corruption. Not today that people even collect the income or money and embezzle it. The next place, that was Buganda. That is Uganda. That's what we call harvest contributions from farmers. Or you remember that most of these taxes were based on agrarian setup. So you see a lot of farm produce being taxed or contributed as form of tax. So there are also labor on king's lands. People have to work on the king's land, and that was form of their tax. There was also the distribution through royal granaries that supporting the poor and the army. Not the poor being taxed, but the army also not being taxed, but they are supported through whatever have been received as taxes. In terms of accountability, they were enforced by what we call Likiko. That's a council. The next. Also, this also Zulu town in South Africa. Also, that is the same approach. That through military service seen as a taxation, cattle received for King Krell, and also the distribution was through via cattle loans to poor household. Hear this. This was a situation that you were poor, you may be given cattle so that you can use to start farm. To the poor, you be given cattle so you can use to trade or rear. And chiefs were accountable to the king's advisors. The next. There's also in Hausa Fulani, through what they call zakat or what they call jiza, that is Islamic taxes, or kudin kasa, land tax, which were paid in grain or cash. And the way of the distribution was through funds used for mosque or education and poor. I know some of us, education was actually flourishing in the north among the Muslims before this issue of Boko Haram. So they supported education, though it was Arabic, but they supported education through the taxes. And through accountability, for the accountability, Cadiz or emirs monitored collections. The next place. An Ethiopian empire, peace and paid tribute in crops and labor. It was tithes. Churches were receiving tithe, but the tithe was not meant for the pastor to eat. The tithe were collected and used for development. The tithe were collected and used for even feeding the poor. That's why I wrote a book recently called Tithe, Tax in a Tight Economy. Whether tax or tithe, they are meant for development of the community or your immediate community. Just for the clergy and festival, and elders, the church monitor fairness of assessment. The next, that should be the last Egypt, which we all know, the case of Egypt. We know about what happened through Joseph, where he collected the grain and stored it. When people needed it out of the lack, it was for them. That was a way. He collected it as form of tax. They contributed it. In the time of hardship, they distributed to them to take away hardship. Now let's go to the next. From all that we have considered, one, wealth was shared at festivals and ceremonies. There was also support for the widows, orphans, and the vulnerable groups. Also, funds for security and community projects were kept, enrolled, and shrined. And you will agree with me, what is happening even in Nigeria, we see some military officers, they carry the tax money for their own personal business or dealings. Hello? All right, the next. The greatest, all right. So the system of, when I'm talking about the principle of distribution, the system of accountability or to play. The Council of Elders were involved, Communities could move, excommunicated. So the legitimacy of rules and fair taxation. The next please. Okay, they also talk about the redistribution. I've talked about the accountability. Now is the fairness in this. The vulnerable groups were exempted and collective contribution instead of individual burden. Sometimes the tax was not on one person, it was to a community. And this was seen as a duty to community. And there was a lot of trust, not oppression. Number next, please. Next, please. So the gender, there's what we call fiscal feminism. The women are not exempted from taxation or paying tax, but they contribute through market tolls or food levies for festivals. Women are asked to cook. That was a form of taxation. And men contribute through military service, family levies, and also reflect inclusive fiscal participation. Number next, please. So I try here to compare the indigenous system with the modern tax system. The old system was in kind, produce, and labor. Why now we talk about monetary, which is income, VAT, corporate. And the distribution were through festival or community, but now the distribution is through welfare or budget. And accountability is now, in those days, were through elders, but now it's through accountability. The accountability is through parliament or audit. And also in terms of fairness, in those days it was quite equitable, an exemption to certain people, the vulnerables. But now we have what we call progressive tax system. So the next, to close, even whatever we have in Yoruba land is similar to what is obtainable. So the next please. The next. Yes, the next, as I close. The next. All right, lesson for this, lesson from all that I've been presenting is the one, in those days, it is not new. There were the issue of fairness, proportional and equitable. But you see in the modern time that even government tax people's seed. What I mean seed is people's capital. If you are poor in those and during the traditional or in our traditional tax system, you can be given a cow to start business. But now it is compulsory, you must have to contribute something, whether you have it or not. So such is not fair. So that's a lesson they should learn. Also, accountability was transparent. But the revenue authority, whether it's Her Majesty in UK or many of some of them are interwoven as part of irregular, but there was accountability, which people even believe in the God may kill you if you fail to pay the direct tax or to manage it well. And through distribution, there was authorizing vulnerable groups. What they practice, what we call social capitalism. They make money, they do business in terms of but everyone enjoy out of the profit. Social capitalism. And there was a lot of trust that we encourage voluntary compliance. Because there's no trust, people have some aversive to paying taxes. Of original fiscal in our tax education. And there should also be a promotion of tax models in the section that only in town, in the so communities, the tax more effective. That's cascading the tax approach or tax system to the local level or community level. Also, there should be an insurance transparency and include forms that involve and the rich, not just very few the reforms. Thank God there is reform in Nigeria that was signed just last month. But this should incorporate some things that made the old one work. And that should strengthen the public trust in the tax system. I conclude by saying, conclusion, that the tax system can work in any nation. Our app, depending on there's no more sustainable, only tax profitable and effective when it's strategically planned to tax profit, not to tax seed. Thank you, and thank you very much. Thank you.
That was cool, done by Dr. Josephine Ocha and I, because it happened to be that she's in media. And when I was talking about AI, I has to fit into what she was talking about. Say, if you don't mind, if you could, or I said, okay, that's fine. So could we go to slide number 2? Welcome everybody today.